So Donald Trump's entire campaign has been nothing but doom and gloom, just fear and propaganda, some of the darkest rhetoric you've ever heard. Whether he's on the campaign trail out at a rally, whether he's sitting down with some kid that used to sniff seats or sitting down with Elon Musk, it's the same act over and over again. And he just cannot help himself. He can't stop doubling down on the racism. He can't stop doubling down on the misogyny. And he's absolutely obsessed with the crowd size. You got to remember that Donald Trump said it's all about the ratings. If you can get the ratings, you can get the rest. Well, he's seeing Kamala Harris get excitement around her campaign. He's seeing people show up to see her, and he's losing it. And he set and spread conspiracy theories saying that Kamala AI'd her crowd. Now, here he is being asked about that, and he's being told to his face. That got debunked. And watch what his reaction to this is. Take a look.
You said Harris's crowd sizes were AI and that there weren't people there. There's all kinds of video evidence and people who were there who have proven that false. Can you tell us about why you made that claim?
Well, I can't say what was there, who was there. I can only tell you about ours. We have the biggest crowds ever in the history of politics. We have crowds that nobody's ever seen before.
So now he says he can't speak about her crowd size. Well, folks, here's the receipt. Here is where he spoke about her crowd size when he posted this. Has anyone noticed that Kamala cheated at the airport? There was nobody at the plane. She AI'd it and showed a massive crowd of so-called followers, but they didn't exist. She was turned in by a maintenance worker at the airport when he noticed the fake crowd picture. But there was nobody there, later confirmed by the reflection of the mirror-like finish on the vice presidential plane. She's a cheater. She had nobody waiting, and the crowd looked like 10,000 people. Same thing is happening with her fake crowds at her speeches. This is the way the Democrats win elections, by cheating, and they're even worse at the ballot box. She should be disqualified because the creation of a fake image is election interference. Anyone who does that will cheat at anything. So yeah, he had plenty to say about it then. There he was spreading conspiracy theories because he knows his audience will buy it. He said he loved the poorly educated, but he also loves the insanely stupid too. Because you truly have to be an idiot of epic proportions to buy into this stuff that is so easily debunked. But they have that built-in defense system already in place to say, oh, if you debunk our conspiracy theory, you're part of the deep state. You're trying to take away our First Amendment rights. So you're just going in circles with these people, and it gets absolutely exhausting. I want to show you this next clip, though, from George Conway. A lot of people would see this and say he's being too over the top, or he's just trying to turn this into sensationalism. No, folks, I think he's dead on the money with this. Take a look.
Yeah, as I've been yammering about for 5 or 6 years now, he's a deeply unwell man. He is a deeply psychologically disturbed individual. If he were a member of your family, you'd be staging an intervention and taking him in to a psychiatric hospital. And if Melania and Ivanka and Eric and Don Jr. care about their father, and I assume their father and husband, I assume they do, they would be doing that if they could. He is, as I've been saying, a narcissistic sociopath, a pathological narcissist, and a sociopath as defined by the American Psychiatric Association. And these are, historians will tell you, the traits of authoritarian dictators throughout history. And what we're seeing now is, as you put it, an implosion. And this, I believe, is what ultimately was always going to happen, the final implosion of Donald Trump. I mean, it's like Hitler, when Hitler was moving around divisions that didn't exist in the last 10 days of the war in the Führer bunker. I mean, he has completely lost it. This post is beyond question delusional. Anybody, I mean, but it was also inevitable, because what's happening here is he realizes he's gotten under more pressure than ever, because he's not just running for the presidency, he's running for his freedom. He's going to go to jail if he does not win the presidency, and he can see that now. And that's why he's doubling down on the unreality. It's partly it's for self-soothing, partly it's just because he can't help it. He's a pathological liar, being a sociopath. And what we're watching is I mean, we're going to make fun of it because it helps provoke him into self-destruction, which is what the country needs. But it's actually very, very sad.
I can hear the critics and the trolls now going, oh, that's too over the top. He's just trying to sensationalize all this. He's just trying to blow this all out of proportion. No, folks, this world has gotten so crazy that when you try to talk about it in a matter-of-fact, sane manner, you sound like the one that's insane. I have people all the time say, do you really believe what you're saying? I'm like, do you really believe what you're seeing? Do you really believe what's happening in front of you? Do you realize just how crazy this has gotten? One of my favorite comedians of all time, the late great Bill Hicks, said, "We live in a world where a plea for sanity sounds like sour grapes." And I've always loved that quote, but over the years, we've grown into that quote, because when I sit in this chair every day and just keep trying to point out these gigantic elephants in the room, it's a plea for sanity. And it probably does sound like sour grapes to some people. It probably does sound like I'm trying to blow stuff out of proportion and sensationalize it and make it into this big thing that you guys will click on. No, folks, this is reality. This is the world we live in. We have a former president who was defeated, coming back for a rematch, and he's still pushing the same conspiracy theories. He's still trying to appeal to that same radical base, doing nothing to step outside of it, doing nothing to win anyone back into the fold, doing nothing to show us that he will be different the next go around. If anything, he's showing us he's going to be worse. And we're just simply trying to point it out. We're just simply trying to say, hey, look, folks, this has gotten out of hand. This has went way further than it should have ever gone. Personally, it should have never happened to start with. Hillary Clinton should have been our president, and that should have been the end of it. But we got stuck in this boat. And it's been a hell of a ride ever since he came down that escalator. And someone does need to have an intervention with him. Someone needs to step in. I've had people do it to me before. I've had my family step in and say, you know what, Brando, you're going to have to get help. And I had to realize that and face up to it. Somebody's going to have to step in here and throw in the towel for Donald Trump. Somebody's going to have to come in. They're not, though, because he's surrounded himself by yes men, and his children will do whatever that he says. So in my mind, none of them actually cares about him as a human being. They're just letting him sit back and implode. And he's so hung up on crowd size that he just repeats his same doom and gloom message, his same fear and propaganda. But this is truly getting under his skin. This is truly bothering him. And I'm going to be back with more videos about how that Kamala is getting under Trump's skin, so stay tuned for that. But folks, we're not trying to blow this stuff out of proportion. It got blew out of proportion a long time ago.